SummerSlam is officially a few days away, and CM Punk himself said that this event could possibly be better than WrestleMania 40. And because SummerSlam has a ton of hype this year, it's time to answer the questions: who will win these matches, who will surprise us, and also will the show be good or not? So let's get into my predictions for SummerSlam 2024. The first match I want to talk about is Bayley versus Nia Jax, okay? I simply do not care for this feud literally more than any other match on this card, and so I have to talk about this first. The biggest thing with this match is, will Tiffany Stratton cash in her Money in the Bank briefcase and become the WWE Women's Champion by the end of the night? Now, I personally think this is important for two different reasons. First off, Bayley's title reign has been complete and utter garbage, okay? She's living off her reputation. She hasn't done anything since she's become champ. She hasn't had any really good matches. She hasn't really had any good promos, so I don't really know why she's been champion other than to just kind of placeholder it for Charlotte or Bianca or Tiffany Stratton or Nia Jax to eventually get it. The second reason I think this is important is because they're making Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax into like this, this friendship duo, right? So the fact that Tiffany has the briefcase and Nia Jax could potentially become WWE Women's Champion, it actually kind of makes that storyline very interesting and engaging, because week after week after week, you're questioning, okay, what's going to happen with the title? Is Tiffany going to cash in? Da-da-da-da. And you can keep this story going up for months and months and months, and it probably won't really get stale. Well, I hope not. I hope it doesn't get stale like Damien Priest Money in the Bank reign, but at the end of the day, I think that's what makes it interesting, and I think that right now, Nia Jax has improved a lot this year in the ring, on the mic, everything, so I think it's time for her to take the title off of Bayley, and so I think that Nia Jax wins this match, and I don't think that Tiffany Stratton cashes in yet. I think it could happen at the Rumble or maybe at Survivor Series or something like that, but I don't think Tiffany cashes in on Nia. Nia walks out of SummerSlam as your WWE Women's Champion in a much-needed win, and what I think would make absolute sense. And next is CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee. Now, me personally, I think, just like a lot of people do, this feud has been very good leading up. I think that Seth Rollins was shoehorned into this match just to give him something to do. He's one of the biggest stars in the company, so you have to put him in the show somehow, some way. So I think they did that with this, making him the referee. I do not know if CM Punk will really be able to get into this match and actually finish this match without getting hurt or bothered or injured in some way. I just don't see it happening with his track record, okay? He tore his left tricep, he tore his right tricep, he broke his foot jumping onto a stand from like 3 feet off the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's really, really fragile, and Drew McIntyre is a big physical wrestler. I don't know if Punk makes it to the end of this match, but if he does, I don't even think he's going to win anyways. Seth Rollins announced on Raw, he's like, he decides whether it's a DQ or not. He decides when he wants to count. He decides if someone loses, if someone wins, if someone taps or not. So we know he's going to be pulling some shenanigans as ref, and he does hate CM Punk more than he hates Drew McIntyre. So I could see Punk either getting screwed by Seth Rollins and losing this match, setting up, him and Rollins down the line, or maybe a triple threat, whatever. Or I could possibly just see Drew McIntyre straight up just winning and beating Punk to a pulp. You never really know, right? So at the end of the day, I think this will be a very interesting match, and I think the in-ring product, if CM Punk brings his A-game and is fully healthy and doesn't look like, an old washed-up star like he did at the Royal Rumble when he was out of breath after 2 kicks and a high knee, this match could actually be pretty good at the end of the day, right? And it could set up some future storylines for Bad Blood, for Survivor Series, for Bash in Berlin, etc. But if he can't really make it through the match, I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the day, right? I'm just sad saying that, but it's true. CM Punk loses to Drew McIntyre in this match some way, somehow. Next is Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the United States Championship, man. I am really excited to see this match, mainly because I think it's kind of set in stone that Logan Paul is going to lose, and Logan Paul is, I think, one of, if not, well, he's actually like a top 3 talent inside of the company, in my opinion. When you talk about wrestling, promos, his work he's done for the company, all that, I think he's extremely talented, but he hasn't really shown up to work for the last year or so since he's been the U.S. champion. So I think it's written in stone that LA Knight will walk out of SummerSlam as the U.S. champion. The feud and this build-up could have been better because Logan Paul wasn't even on the show, but when he's on the show and when he's sending in the video promos and LA Knight's promos, everything has been amazing when they're actually there. LA Knight's promo a couple weeks ago with Logan Paul absolutely grilled him on that mic and cut the best promo of his career. However, the feud, the storylines, the acting that they do, the mannerisms, everything that they've done with their personalities and their charisma they bring to the company has been on full display in the build-up for this feud, and I think that the in-ring match quality, there will be some shenanigans, possibly an I Show Speed, a Jake Paul, a KSI, but I think there will be some shenanigans, but Logan Paul will eventually get beat and stomped out by the man they call the megastar, LA Knight. Yeah. The good thing is that if or when LA Knight wins, I think he will be on the SmackDown every single week with the U.S. title, and I think that's going to be very, very interesting and entertaining, and it could possibly set up that feud I wanted with Carmelo Hayes and LA Knight. That would be a banger. And then next is Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Now, besides Punk and McIntyre, this might be the most anticipated match on the card for many people. Now, I personally think the build-up for this match has been decent, but it's kind of stopped and slowed down a couple weeks ago when I realized that Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan have never actually cut a promo in the ring with each other. They have so much past and so much history, and the fact that this whole entire feud is pretty much all about Dominic Mysterio and whether he's going to turn or not is kind of a testament to how much that Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley haven't really done much between just the two of them. So really the question is Dominic Mysterio going to turn on Rhea Ripley or turn on Liv Morgan? And obviously, I think he's going to turn on Rhea Ripley, and I think he's going to help Liv Morgan walk out of SummerSlam as the Women's World Heavyweight Champion, and this is going to set up Rhea Ripley to officially become a full-on babyface inside of the company. Once this happens, she was going to get massive, she already gets massive cheers every week, right, because, the Rhea Ripley fans and the Liv Morgan fans that are, another word that I'm not going to say, but they're weirdos, most of the time at least, on Twitter and all those other apps, but anyways, I think that she's going to start getting massive pops. She's going to be a good guy pretty much from here on out, probably until WrestleMania or even beyond that. And at the end of the day, Liv Morgan and Dominic will side together and do everything in their power to stop Rhea Ripley. It only makes the story more interesting, it makes it more engaging, and the events of this match will ultimately be more impactful if they do that turn. As far as the in-ring quality, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. Liv Morgan's an okay wrestler at best. Rhea Ripley's a very good wrestler in the ring, but I have to see it happen, right? I'm not confident in the quality of this match in ring-wise, but it's really about the story and will Dom turn, and I think that's going to happen. Liv Morgan walks out as your Women's World Heavyweight Champion. Next is Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. I'm going to cut to the chase here. Braun Breaker needs to win this match. You can't build him up as this big beast of a character. And honestly, Braun Breaker's been cutting very good promos. He's very good in the ring. We already know this stuff. He's a young super talent, and he probably is going to be a superstar when he, matures for a couple more years inside of the business. You cannot let this dude get stomped out again by Sami Zayn. It's unacceptable. He is better than Sami Zayn at this current moment. He's honestly he's doing really, really good work on the mic, and in the backstage segments, he's very, very good right now, and he's hot, man. You got to let him ride the wave. Just like when LA Knight was hot last year, they let him ride the wave and challenge Roman for the title. You got to do the same thing with Braun Breaker, man. Braun Breaker needs to win this match. I don't really see a scenario where Sami Zayn walks out of Cleveland the Intercontinental Champion. I actually think they're going to start moving him into a storyline with Jey Uso and the Bloodline, and they're going to be looking for the World Tag Team Championships, and they probably will end up going against Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu at some point later this year when the whole Bloodline Civil War Part 2 happens. I'm assuming later this year with Roman, Solo, The Rock, probably Jey Uso, Jimmy, Sami, all that stuff, right? So at the end of the day, Braun Breaker winning makes the most sense. You want to build up your young stars and make them seem like a beast. Well, have him beat Sami Zayn, who's a long-tenured person at WWE, and ultimately is the Intercontinental Champion who beat Gter. If Braun Breaker beats Sami Zayn, makes him feel like more of a threat, makes sense for the storyline, and elevates Braun Breaker in the WWE, and that's what needs to happen. And the penultimate match of this show is Damien Priest versus Gter for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, me personally, I've gone back and forth on who I think is going to win this match, but I'm going to land with Damien Priest winning this match. On one hand, I think Gter is way better than Damien Priest when it comes to everything needed to pretty much be a WWE superstar, but on the other hand, I do think Damien Priest is a transitional champion, but I think that this could be a perfect opportunity to make his reign feel like something more than that, right? If he beats a guy like Gter, who just had a 2.5-year title reign, that would be massive. And if he does it on his own merit without help from the Judgment Day, that would make Damien Priest actually feel like a threat to the point where if he wrestles Seth Rollins again for the title, which they've teased, he might actually win that match and no one would be surprised. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's all about the storytelling here. Will Finn Balor interrupt? Will Dominic Mysterio get involved? Will JD McDonough get involved? We don't know yet, so we have to see this match and see how things evolve as we get closer to SummerSlam and when we're actually in SummerSlam, right? But I just don't see a scenario where Gter wins. I think whoever wins this match is going to lose the World Championship to Rollins or Punk anyways before Mania 41, so we can get Rollins versus Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. But either way, Damien Priest is a transitional champion at heart, and I just think that it's better to keep the title on him for now, and it may evolve into being a great reign where you don't have to take the title off of him, so you never know. Meanwhile, Gter, if you give him the belt, you're just going to take it off of him in 4 or 5 months anyways, so what's the point of that, right? So yes, Damien Priest wins this championship match. I'm not 100% on that, but I do think Damien Priest wins this championship match, and it should be a very, very great in-ring match, arguably the best in terms of in-ring quality of the night. And lastly is this garbage main event with Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa for the WWE Championship. First off, if you were actually going to SummerSlam and you spent thousands of dollars on tickets to watch Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes in the main event, I feel bad for you, okay? I'm sorry for your family. I'm sorry for you if you spent that money. It's a shame. It's embarrassing that this is the main event. However, it is the main event, so we have to say who's going to win it. Obviously, Solo Sikoa is not going to win this match, but if he does win this match, I would actually be pretty happy. Because at the end of the day, Cody Rhodes' title reign, just like Bayley's and just like Damien Priest, has been garbage. So if he's able to walk out of here without a championship and Solo Sikoa gets it, while Fatu and Tama Tonga end up getting the tag champs on SmackDown the night before, then you're making a very, very interesting story for when Roman Reigns comes back. And speaking of Roman Reigns, this whole match is pretty much predicated on whether he comes back or not, right? He is the biggest star in the company still, and he is going to make the whole bloodline thing even more interesting than it's already been, and he's going to elevate that storyline to a brand new level. So I'm hoping that Roman Reigns actually doesn't show up at this show, though, because it is Cleveland. It's an open-air stadium. I want that pop and that build-up to be massive, and it's been 4 months since he showed up, but I think you can extend it a little bit longer because The Rock just finished his movie Smashing Machine. He's finished filming it. I think it's possible that The Rock is the one who comes back. And maybe that sets up him versus Cody at Survivor Series or something along those lines. And that way you keep the bloodline interesting, you keep it engaging. The final boss and the new tribal chief with Solo Sikoa working together with Fatu and Tama Tonga and, Tonga Loa. I think that's a very, very interesting and good story, and it buys you another month or two to build into Roman Reigns' return. That's just how I feel about it. I don't think Cleveland, I'm sorry for hating on Cleveland, but I just don't see that's the right scenario to bring back somebody like Roman Reigns, especially because it's only been 4 months, right? The Rock can come back whenever, it's The Rock. But Roman Reigns, you got to build a little bit more to that. But I think Roman Reigns shows up at the end of this show. I don't think The Rock is going to show up. I think it will be Roman Reigns, and he'll either cost Solo the title or do a face-off with Cody Rhodes or do a face-off with Solo, or a face-off with all three of them. They might set up a triple threat. Who knows? And I think Roman comes back with Paul Heyman, and I think he comes back with Jimmy Uso. And that's how this pay-per-view will end. It will be a very, very massive and huge moment that everyone will be talking about, whether it's The Rock or Roman Reigns coming back. I do think it will be Roman Reigns, though. And it's good to have our tribal chief back, man, because goodness gracious, SmackDown has sucked without him. So yes, that's how I think the SummerSlam 2024 will end. Cody Rhodes vs. Solo is a bad feud, and the match will probably be mid in terms of the in-ring quality. But at the end of the day, this is all done for Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns is a bigger story and a bigger star than Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa will ever be. So that's how I think SummerSlam 24 will ultimately end. Let me know your predictions for every single match in the comment sections below. And as usual, let's hope this is better than Money in the Bank and that garbage booking. But as usual, I hope you guys have a phenomenal day. Peace out.